Welcome to Good Mythical More. We're deep diving in the way people's minds work. Stevie, what does that mean?
We're just gonna like talk about like mind phenomenon and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also had a rough morning, I'll tell you about that.
Oh, is it because of the way your mind works?
Uh,
Can we tie it in? I'm trying to tie
it's
it
more
in.
of how my body works.
Okay, well, mind-body connection. But first, let's give $50 to Steven Passhouse.
Okay.
Repping that mythical merch out in the wild. Specifically, where is that?
Earth Day shirt in Six Flags Darien Lake, Corfu, New York. Corfu.
Corfu. Yeah,
You
listen.
rep merch, you get more merch. The
We find
restrooms are over your left shoulder.
Use that hashtag merchicality. When you rep the merch, maybe we'll find you. Maybe we'll give you some money. How's it work? That's how it works.
So let's dive into minds. All right, take us there.
So this first one is, I was gonna say it's interesting, but that's a stupid word to use. But it is interesting. Internal monologue, also referred to as internal dialogue, the voice inside your head or an inner voice.
I know what you're gonna
Your
say.
internal monologue is the result of certain brain mechanisms that cause you to hear yourself talk in your head without actually speaking and forming sounds. But this is not like, a lot of people don't have an internal monologue.
Some people actually hear a voice.
Well,
And
it's
some
so
people don't.
it could be someone else's voice or it could be your own voice. But it's not the same thing as like having inner thoughts. It's literally when you have internal inner speech where you can hear your voice talking.
I don't think I have ever experienced that. I mean, whenever
I don't think so either.
when I'm thinking about like having a conversation that I feel like is worth thinking about ahead of time, I hear myself talking as if I'm saying it out loud, but I hear it in my head. But that's as close as I get.
Well, an
Right.
example was like if you if your boss asks you to stay late, in your head, your inner voice says, "Oh, that's BS. I can't blah blah," and then out loud you say like, "Oh, sure."
But you hear it.
But you hear in your head your
and it
own
could be
inner
somebody else's
monologue,
voice.
like
So,
talking to yourself.
I read about this at one point.
Anybody here
I believe that we talked
well,
about
wanna
so
it.
share.
it says 30 to 50% of people
Yeah.
do have
Yeah,
an
almost
internal
half of the
monologue.
population.
So by show of hands, I'm just wondering, is anybody
Well,
here?
I want to clarify what it is because you might realize that you do it. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you hear it. It doesn't mean that you literally like hear a voice. Like there are people who hear voices, right? Like it's so real to them that it's the same experience that they would have with someone talking across the room. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is when you think thoughts, you can imagine that it is a voice that is saying those thoughts versus it's just a process that's happening.
Yes,
It's
but
a
both.
subtle difference.
There are people who have internal monologues voiced by people who aren't
Right,
themselves.
but everyone can do it. Like imagine right now that Joe Pesci is telling you that to go walk the dog.
what does that accomplish?
What? Oh, what does it accomplish? You mean for people or for this exercise right now?
For this exercise.
So people who are watching and the crew here will understand exactly what we're talking about. Because I think some people will be like, do you hear a voice? And be like, I don't hear a voice. Most people just react, but then when you think about it, you're like, oh, I actually can make Joe Pesci speak to me in my head right now.
Yeah,
but that's not the thing. It's not can
not it.
you.
I know, but I'm saying, but then the people who have this, 30 to 50% of people who do this, that's how their inner dialogue works. They're constantly hearing somebody say something.
They're basically just talking to themselves a lot all the time.
But you haven't had it.
No,
And I haven't had it.
But-
Stevie,
but you know what I'm talking about.
Tally,
Now
you're
that you
saying
do
you've
that.
had it.
it's not have you had it, it's do you do it.
do you,
Is this
yeah.
how you
so
think?
most people are in that kind of like occasionally category, and usually like the scientific studies is more in that range versus like I do have it or I don't have it at all. But there are some people who do feel strongly either way.
Is it your own voice?
Yeah, it's my own voice, but it's like constant commentary.
Yeah, see, she's got it.
Constant commentary.
I'm
like,
the same way and shocked to learn that others don't.
Same.
Yeah.
And is Carney, it's your own voice?
Yeah.
Because if it's Markiplier, then it is just commentary.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because there's people who hear other people's voices. Like there's an article where the person hears Patrick Stewart's voice, and then this woman, Claudia, who was profiled by The Guardian.
Somebody really wanted to be profiled by The Guardian.
Her internal monologue is a belligerent Italian couple, and Claudia is not Italian. And if she has a big decision to make in her life, the Italians take over and passionately argue either side. That might be something else, I gotta say.
I kinda like that. I might have to hire those Italians.
Yeah.
Well, then also, and Davin,
decisions.
you have one that is in English.
Let's hear it,
That's
David.
right. Yeah. This is what my internal monologue sounds like.
It's your voice in English, but then you have another voice.
Well, no, when I was growing up, when I haven't learned English fluently, like my internal monologue was in Indonesian, because that's the language I grew up with.
So
So
that person's dead.
It switched at some point.
It did switch at some point, yeah.
So you dream in English now.
Yes.
Oh,
When you went back home and stayed with your family for 3 weeks or so, did you start dreaming in Indonesian again?
No, it's still in English because I think English is now my main language.
and what
I think
about?
that's what it is.
So when you visited your family, were you speaking Indonesian, or did they speak English more often?
No, I speak Indonesian to them.
Okay. Were you rusty?
Very.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what did they say
Were they
about that?
mad, disappointed?
No, they're not mad. They just know. I mean, I've been here in the U.S. for 11 years now, so
Yeah.
I know.
What did they say about it? Nothing.
No, nothing. Yeah, I think they just know.
What did they think in
We're getting
Indonesian?
outside of internal monologue.
Yeah, what did their internal Indonesian dialogue say about you? Could you demonstrate that for us?
Wow, bahasa Inggrisnya bagus ya. See, that even me speaking bahasa Indonesian is very rusty on
Putting
my
them on the
right
spot.
now.
We noticed.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of that.
You talking about dreaming? I remember a dream I had last night, and this isn't what happened to me afterward.
Oh, well, we get to hear that too.
Can I tell you both? I had a dream that I was hanging out with Tim Robinson. From
I think you should leave.
I was going to. So you think you can leave now? Is what I was about to call his show. And some people find him really hard to take in his show. I don't. I love his show. We watched it together. Boy, we really had fun.
Yeah, we did.
But I found him very hard to take in person in my dream because he was like in full. You should leave now. I think you should leave now. What's it called?
I think you should leave. I told you my whole dream about being at Tim Robinson's house.
This is one of my phenomena. None.
You planted
on
the dream.
on
Yeah,
this
I think
list.
we talked about it on More. But I'm not
It's-
done with my dream.
Oh.
Okay,
and so
well, that's
I-
a tease to one of the future things we'll talk about.
I was very annoyed. And then I look over to the couch, and President Barack Obama was reclining, like laid out completely on the couch, like feet on the couch, everything. And he was just as annoyed as I was, but I knew that, A, he was currently president. And I also knew that he was going to handle it. And
He's like,
I just watched
I got this, Lee.
President Barack Obama just put him in his place, and he used some choice language, including a compound word that has an M and an F in it. He was letting them have it.
awesome. I would
That was my
love to
dream.
see that.
Yeah. And then I woke up, went for a mountain bike ride, got back in my car, and I was driving home, and I was like, I am going to vomit everywhere. And I pulled over to the side of the road, got out of my car, went to the front of my car because
Still the dream?
no, this is reality.
Oh, you switched.
And I just vomited on the curb. And then I looked around and I saw somebody running this way and then a biker coming this way, and then I vomited some more on the curb. And then I turned around and I sat down on the curb, and they both passed me, and I was ready to say something, but neither one of them asked if I was okay.
Did you push yourself a little too
I
hard?
pushed myself a little too hard this morning.
You need to be more careful.
It was
man.
just a bunch of
I don't want to hear about what it looks.
Electrolyte liquid. That's all that was.
Did you feel sick while you were mountain biking?
I had to stop more than normal, but I felt fine when I got in the car, and then I was like, oh, it's that. I'm having that feeling, and I don't want to have it all over my dash.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good now. I was good I wasn't. Once I stood up, I was good. And I left my car. My car was running and the music was blasting. And so it just seemed like I was chilling on the curb listening to some tunes.
How close to your house were you?
I don't know, 6 minutes.
Oh, okay. You had a ways to go.
Yeah. I'm good now, though. I mean, that
Good.
mustard calzone really helped.
Yeah. Some people's internal monologue isn't a voice. It is represented in different things. So like this person, former librarian Mary Worrell, her inner voice has always been a TV screen or sometimes a slide projector that is continuously playing inside an attic inside her head. The attic is accessed by a spiral staircase behind her left ear. She's 71. She says there's not a great deal of sound. It's just images, really, like a film is playing. When Worrell's inner voice reminds her to pick up some washing powder, she doesn't hear the words, buy washing powder. Instead, she sees herself reaching for a box of washing powder on a TV screen in the attic.
That sounds exhausting.
Wow.
I gotta go up the spiral staircase behind my left ear.
To see what I should do.
Yeah, this doesn't feel very efficient. Feels like processing time is gonna be a little bit slow for Miss Worrell.
Love your shirt, by the way. Let's promote that. This is a really cool design. I saw it and I was like, oh, just a colorful Mythical logo. But no!
MYTHICAL spells Mythical.
Mythical.
Get
Look at
it?
that.
It's the groovy, wavy font tee. What are we calling it? Groove tee? Groove tee. Go over there to mythical.com. Get yourself one.
It's pretty cool, man.
It's cool. It's
pretty
comfortable.
cool, man. Pretty cool, man.
So cryptomnesia is the thing I was talking about. It means hidden memory, but it's unconscious plagiarism. So it occurs when a forgotten memory returns without it being recognized as such by the subject, who believes it's something new and original. It's a memory bias whereby a person may falsely recall generating a thought, an idea, a tune, a name, a joke, and they're not deliberately engaging in plagiarism, but they're experiencing a memory as if it were new. So like...
Are you saying that I plagiarized his dream?
Yeah. No. Yes.
I didn't. Your dream didn't have Obama in it.
Well, actually, it did. You just forgot. You made it your own memory.
He's my buddy. When he was president, he would hang out on the couch and he would just let Tim Robinson have it.
But this is what kind of makes this whole town go. I mean, I think.
Well,
this whole, I mean, I'm not saying
borrowing inspiration.
I mean, first of all, everything is a remix, right? But yeah, I think about this all the time when writing a melody for something. I'm like,
that's the most like.
I know that sounds like something. It's very influenced by something, sometimes it's just two notes, a step up to something or a step down or three notes, especially like, oh, I know it's from some like Jackson Brown song many years ago or something, and you can't ever place it, but you can't
Ignore it. You can't ignore it.
Well, if you worry about it, you just never end up making anything. That's my philosophy. I'm like, it's probably coming from somewhere, but everything comes from somewhere.
But if multiple people are like, dude, you plagiarized Puff the Magic Dragon, then I think you need to go back to the drawing board. Which that did happen.
There was a case where George Harrison, in 1969, he wrote "My Sweet Lord," and he was sued for plagiarizing the melody from the 1963 hit "He's So Fine" by the Chiffons. And if you pull up "He's So Fine," you can sing along to it with the lyrics of "My Sweet Lord." That's how close it was. And George Harrison admitted to knowing the song, and the judge ruled it was a case of inadvertent copying of what was in Mr. Harrison's subconscious memory, but he still had to pay $500,000 in royalties.
Yeah, if it's
that
was the
clear, if they can make a clear connection. I actually saw. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to add fuel to the fire, but there was a TikTok musician, some guy that's got like the way it works on TikTok these days is there'll be like a musician, independent musician. He'll have like one song that he's posted to his account, like his last 50 videos or different ways of singing this one song, or like,
Yeah.
And the first time I ever heard it, I was like, oh, he's about to do a cover of this other song that I had in my mind. And then he starts singing. I'm like, oh, it's not that song. It just has exactly the same guitar intro. Not really intro, but just like this little step down thing that's very reminiscent of this one song. And I saw he literally started putting in the text of the TikTok, no, this is not that song. That's a common progression. Like he has to start saying that because all the comments are about how this is a song is a ripoff of that thing. And I was like,
The thing that
I don't know, this guy's fighting this battle real hard.
the thing I didn't understand about your story was when you said that all of his other videos were about what?
It's like the TikTokers that like they don't know which of their videos could be picked up by the algorithm, so they make like 10 different videos being like, I wrote this song, or like, here, this is a song about this and here it is, or like different ways to like premiere part of their song
over and over and over again on your account. That's the way that the TikTokers do it these days.
With different like introductions or different contexts. Like I'm in the woods singing it.
Sometimes you're singing it in different places. Sometimes it's the sound as you're doing something else. Sometimes you're like got a different comment. Like it's just using that song over and over again, trying to get it to catch, or trying to get it to catch again in the way that it did at one point.
Oh,
super common for these like independent musicians.
I've never heard of this one before. It's the
Sounds like
opposite of deja
chasing the
vu.
wind.
Opposite of deja vu, called jamais vu, and it's
Jamais vu.
it involves a sense of eeriness and the observer's impression of experiencing something for the first time, despite rationally knowing that they have experienced it before. More commonly explained as when a person momentarily does not recognize a word, or less commonly a person or place that they already know.
Never happened.
This has happened to me with words, where I'll be like, I know that I know this, but why does this word feel so new, or the way that this thing is said seems so new when I know I've been saying this for a long time? I can't give an example, but I didn't have a word for that.
So when you say word, the only thing that does this count when you see a word that you're like, that's not how it's spelled. That's not how it's spelled.
Yeah. So the example says...
It looks weird.
A study by Chris Moulin of Leeds University asked 92 volunteers to write outdoor 30 times in 60 seconds. Okay. In July 2006, at the 4th International Conference on Memory in Sydney, he reported that 68% of the volunteers showed symptoms of jamais vu, such as beginning to doubt that door was a real word.
Yes. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Door.
So, yeah, when you see it enough, you're like, that doesn't even look like a word anymore.
Door.
That's happened to you. That's happened.
Says that he
that's happened to
believes
everybody.
that a similar brain fatigue underlies a phenomenon observed in some schizophrenia patients that believe a familiar person has been replaced by an identical imposter.
Oh, I would never do that.
That is scary to think about. If you actually believe that somebody that you love is like an imposter.
Yeah, that's a tough way to live, man.
Oh my gosh.
Tough way to live.
I'm so sad right now. I'm gonna go outside and vomit on the curb. Hey, isn't that guy from the internet vomiting on the curb? You know, you think things like that.
Yeah, you do.
When you're vomiting on the curb and you're me.
Boogie on over to mythical.com to grab the Mythical Groove Tee. Sweet dance moves not included.